Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. So excited for today's video. It's been a while, but you know what, that's okay. I have been doing a lot of reading over the past 2.5 months, and I have been utilizing my library more, which is so great. If you are able to use your library or if you have one near you, I highly recommend, and we should always try to be supporting local libraries so they're able to get funded more. I thought, what better way to motivate myself to read my library books than to put it in a vlog. I feel like when I see reading vlogs, a lot of people read their owned books in their physical TBR, but not a lot of people read or prioritize the library. I picked out 2 books this month from the library that I'm really excited to read, and I can't wait to show them to you. The first book is Conditions of a Heart by Bethany Mangle, but this is a YA contemporary, and it recently came out, and I've been wanting to read it for a while, ever since I saw the blurb. This basically follows, I think her name's Lily. No, not Lily. Her name is not Lily. It's Bryn. And she is either a high school junior or senior, and it follows her experience in a high school as someone who is diagnosed and dealing with the hardships of a chronic illness. I wish while I was still in high school there were more stories at the forefront about learning how to deal with their disabilities and just living through them, but not in a tragic way. I don't even know how to put this, but I just really wish there were more stories in the YA genre highlighting high schoolers with chronic illnesses, and it's always so important when the author themselves has the chronic illness, because we can be reading the most authentic lived experience representation, and disability rep in books is so important to me. I believe Bryn has POTS in Ehlers-Danlos syndrome in this book, and I haven't read a book with either of those disabilities, but I have a lot on my TBR, so I'm just really excited to see how this dives into the different effects of disability, and especially in high school when you want to fit in, but then you have this overarching adult issue that no one expects you to have because you're young. Every review I've seen of this has said it makes them feel so seen and heard, and I just am so ready. I don't know if there's a romance, there might be, but I'm just really excited to see the effects and the relationship she has with her disability and going through her life as a high schooler. We have this one. I also have Powerful by Lauren Roberts. I bought Reckless on my birthday during my bookstore trip, and I forgot that I didn't read this little novella. This is basically part of the Powerless series by Lauren Roberts. I read Powerless in the beginning of the year in January, and although I didn't really was obsessed with the romance, I did where the plot was going. The last 100 pages really hooked me enough to want to continue the series. This novella follows the point of view of Peyton's best friend Adina from the first book, so I'm excited to see how Adina's story connects with the latter events of the first book and what happened, and then I think it's going to be a good transition into Reckless, but I'm really intrigued to see how this goes. I've also, after reading such a dense fantasy book as my last read, I read the 5th season by Jemisin, which is a dystopian sci-fi book, and I've been wanting to read it forever, and I finally did. It's dense, but it's the best kind of, I don't know what's going on, but it's brilliant, flabbergasted me every single moment. So I feel I need something a little bit lighter. Also, it's really short. I think because I just read a really dense fantasy, I need something to switch it up. So I think I'm gonna go with Conditions of a Heart to read first. I'm having a really bad chronic autoimmune pain day, so I just kind of want to sit, watch some YouTube, and read this book, and I will be back with updates when I get into it. I'm already emotional. It has a little author's note that I showed, and it literally says, "This book considers what the world might have been like several years after quarantine. COVID-19 were no longer a threat. I made this choice deliberately to show that even if COVID-19 is eventually eradicated, it doesn't mean that life returns to normal for the disabled, chronically ill, or vulnerable people who were treated as expendable. We learned hard lessons about who society deems worthy. This is not meant to minimize that experience in any way. She talks about how this representation is based off her own personal experience, but she also notes that just because she's representing it from her own personal experience, that it's not the only representation or subset of the disorder, which I think is so important to show that everyone can have a disability, or someone can have the same condition but it presents differently for them. Slowly decaying inside. Hello, it is the next day and I'm going to give you a little update. I haven't read at all today, but as you could see in the last clip, I did read a little bit more of this book. Oh my god, it's just so easy to read, and I don't know how to explain that other than I can visualize it very well. And within these 86 pages that I've read, I just feel so connected to this story, and I love the way it's delving into Bryn's relationship with her chronic illness and everything within that. There are certain parts of the book that have her inner dialogue with different body parts that don't support her, and as someone who feels certain days certain parts of her body, whether it's my ankle or my thigh or something, just not working as proficiently or how it's supposed to work, having that little inner monologue with your system and how it's not working was so relatable for me. I don't know if it's because I just am really enamored in the story, but within these 86 pages, I feel I really have a good testament of Bryn's character. Sometimes within contemporaries, we don't really get a good picture of a character's personality or see their reactions to everything around them. Bryn, she just has such a clear voice and how she compensates her well-being towards things to help people feel more comfortable, but then also is irritated at the same time with the cards she was given, which is such a relatable mixture of emotions. I really do like how in this book, because Ehlers-Danlos syndrome can be a part of a genetic component, so I really like how she's not the only one in her family who deals with it and understands the hardships of it. They both experience it in different ways, but her and her father can rely on each other in a way that they can't relate to her sister and her mother. I'm really intrigued to see where this goes so far, but I'm really liking it. Let's finish the book. Hello, it is the next day and I'm here to give a little update on our reading, and that is that I finished Conditions of a Heart by Bethany Mangle last night, and oh my god, it was so good. It was so introspective and funny, but also emotional, and truly showcased Bryn's story and her coming into herself, to figuring out how to appreciate what she can still do, but also allowing those feelings of disability grief, feeling once people know about your medical condition, the dynamics will change. Even though I don't have EDS or POTS, some of the conversation surrounding like not really knowing how to plan for the future because of like medical reasons were so relatable to me, and I truly loved seeing that. And I loved seeing Burns' family dynamic, but also like the little side romance. It was just really cute. The pacing was great, so I would definitely recommend this if you're looking for a coming of age story with a little bit more emotional counterpart, and the side characters were really fun, and like the different elements of friendship. So I rated it a 4 out of 5 stars. Definitely one I want to get for my bookshelf. I also started Powerful last night, and I'm only 30 pages in. I think it's like 250 pages. I can already see a difference in the writing compared to when I read Powerless, so I'll probably read a bit more today and then update you. Why does this book have me giggling? Oh my god. I love Adina and Mac's banter and their dynamic more than Peyton and Kai's. I feel like because with Powerless, I always felt like Lauren Roberts, because it's centered on the romance and romantasy, and that's like the main focus. I always felt like in Powerless, wherever Peyton was or whatever she was doing in like the kingdom and in training, Lauren Roberts would just like write Kai in to show up, and sometimes I felt like their banter or their teamwork would be very forced. But I feel like with this, she set it up so great for them to like work together on a common goal, and so their reactions to each other are just like authentic because they've never met. I don't know if that makes sense, but I always felt like in Powerless there was a bit too much banter and too much like sly or affectionate words, where this, it just seems like just enough. There's one part that says, "Let's get you cleaned up out of the goodness of my heart, I might add." And then she says, "I thought you weren't giving any of that to me." And then he says, "You forced my hand." Like, I shouldn't be giggling over a man. I should not be giggling. Oh, this is gonna hurt. Oh no. I fear I may be obsessed. This is really bad. Like, is it predictable? Yes. Is it classic tropes and subtropes? Yes. She goes back to like her little fort place her and Peyton had built. There are some men that make her feel really uncomfortable and start following her, and she runs back to his like abode in tears because, you know, rightfully so, a woman and then men chasing you, always. He says, "I started running, I didn't know what to do." And then he goes, "You did the right thing." You did the right thing. Run to me. Always run to me. Any couple or any pairing, even if it's friends, like if they make each other their safe place to land, I will eat it up every time. That's why I loved Spencer and Toby so much from Pretty Little Liars. Like, they were my kryptonite. Why am I getting sad? Okay, so this is kind of spoilers if you have not read Powerless. Essentially, Adina gets sent to the palace as Peyton's like seamstress, so she can make dresses for her for like the trials and like interview portions. And she's been summoned by Peyton to like make her dresses. She doesn't have to like sneak in anymore, and Mac literally says, "You don't understand. I need to be there. We were meant to go together, so I could ensure you'd be in my range. But now I have no idea where you are." This man is literally so scared about not being able to see her every day. I finished the book. Not expect. this book to have me full on sobbing, hyperventilating. Oh my god. I think it's the fact that, like, because you read the first book, you know what happens. But now you have to read it in certain POVs, and I thought that would make it easier, right? Like, we really thought it would make it easier knowing what's gonna happen, but reading it, it makes it like 10 times worse. I didn't really think I would connect so much with this book. Like, all I'm gonna say is her and Mac are so pure. Is it, like, wrong of me to rate this a 5-star? God, Powerless did not get me this emotional. Of course, the one couple and the one character that gets me really, like, connected to. Like, this is a library copy, and I'm now wishing I had a physical copy because I wanted to underline so many things. This is definitely one of my favorites of the year. Improvement of Lauren Roberts, like, writing and the way she can say emotions and the way she, like, hints back to certain things and certain lights in earlier chapters and the meaning of them and just the tenseness and the emotional of the last few chapters. Like, it literally, when this book ended, it literally said, here's a sneak peek of Reckless, and I was like, I don't care about that. I'm still trying to get through what I just emotionally went through. I haven't been this emotionally connected to a couple in a while, and I haven't had a book make me cry like this in a while. Someone who, like, wasn't completely obsessed with the first book and now, like, completely obsessed with this little novella. Like, this has changed my mind on novellas because what do you mean? Should we watch A Good Girl's Guide to Murder? Like, another episode of that to, like, help me through this. Like, I just realized I forgot to do an outro to this video, so therefore we're gonna do an outro right now. Also, I don't know when my sleeve is wet. Like, it's water. I don't remember what water I spilled on it. Don't mind my voice. I have really bad allergies today, and my main symptom of allergies is losing my voice, so we're just going to not talk about it, okay? Let's go over the 2 books that I read and give you my final ratings. The first book we read was Conditions of Heart by Bethany Mangle. This is a YA contemporary, and I absolutely adored it. I loved our main character's development, and I loved the conversations it had around disability, and the writing flowed very well, and it was very easy for me to read, and it was one of those experiences where I didn't want to stop reading and I just, like, wanted to read it, which is, like, so nice. I rated that a 4 out of 5 stars. If you're looking for a contemporary with disability rep, I would definitely recommend Conditions of Heart. And then we read Powerful, which is the little novella by Lauren Roberts that goes along with the Powerless series. If you've never heard of Powerless, it's basically a fantasy romance series that features, like, a trial competition similar to, like, Front of Glass or, like, The Hunger Games, essentially, like, in the trial aspect. Like, it's not like The Hunger Games within, like, social commentary vein of The Hunger Games with the trials. And so essentially this novella follows our main character Peyton's best friend Adina from the first book and, like, her story during the events of the first book. I mean, I feel like I don't have to really say a lot because you saw me full on sobbing with this book. I haven't had a reaction like that in forever. As someone who didn't absolutely adore Powerless, I didn't expect this book to hit me the way it did. It's just sweet, but it was heartbreaking. I don't know, I loved Adina and Mac so much in this book. It's changed my mind on novellas. If a novella can get this out of me, like, I originally was going to rate it a 5-star, but then thinking more about it, it isn't one that consumes my body and soul. Like, it got a really good reaction out of me, and I love the characters, but it just doesn't have that 5-star feeling. Therefore, I think I'm going to rate it a 4.5, but it was very, very good, very, very close to being a 5-star. I hope you enjoyed this video and want me to do more. Hope you have a lovely, lovely day, and I don't know.